Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the last premium public video discussion of 2024. We're going to be going on a little bit of a hiatus, but we'll still continue to have all the text discussions on the website as always, but no videos, as I'm not expecting much in the way of any type of major storms. I'll explain why in this video. And also, we have some light snow. Yes, light snow before Christmas. A little bit of a white Christmas feel out there. And I got a hint for you. We're not done. We have a lot more on the way in January and maybe February as well. But I'm going to show you some of the data. We've been talking about this in the live chat for quite some time, saying, hey, these are the factors we're looking at. So we've already went over all the factors like the lack of a La Nina really developing, the MJO in phase 6 moving towards phase 7, 8, and 1. That could be a significant factor for next month as we start 2025. And of course, we're going to have to keep an eye on the polar vortex, as that will have some impacts as well as it stretches and consolidates and stretches again. So we have a lot to watch out for here. But the main story is the potential for light snow, accumulating snow in the northern mid-Atlantic, starting tonight and continuing on into early tomorrow morning, making for more of a holiday feel. Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever you might be celebrating, or just New Year's, it'll certainly feel a little bit more festive out there. So let's take a look at some of the model data. First of all, I want to show you the long range forecast over the next 15 days, which is, I kind of want to explain why I'm not expecting much in the way of major storms. And that is that right now we're in MJO phase 6. And when we're in MJO phase 6, that does not support the potential for winter storms. Combine that with the polar vortex consolidating, what you end up with is a very progressive polar jet stream descending Pacific and a little bit of polar air masses marching right across the country. So we'll get a little Arctic shot for this weekend, setting up very, very cold temperatures, brutally cold for Saturday and especially Sunday. Monday morning, we could actually see low temperatures around zero, if not below, especially in the Poconos and Catskills. So we get our Arctic blast. Again, the idea of transient air masses coming in and out is going to remain a theme. But once we get past, let's say, Monday morning, we start to moderate pretty nicely towards more seasonable temperatures. We're not looking at a quote unquote torch. I'm sorry, I don't call a torch when we're in the 40s. I mean, it is December after all. But certainly milder conditions are on the way, and that will continue on from Christmas on into New Year's. And so this type of weather pattern here, where we're very progressive, we have a lot of fast moving short waves and increasingly more active subtropical jet stream, which means things are starting to change in the tropics as we have been discussing. And by the time we get to the end of this forecast period, we start to see some of those changes in early January, where our MJO moves into phase 7, 8, and 1. We start to see a little bit more high latitude blocking starting to show up, a nice ridge on the west coast. This is not set up for a winter storm threat because the ridge axis is a little bit too far to the west. But hey, you got to start somewhere, right? So this signal right here tells me, hey, cold air is going to be returning, and that's exactly what we're going to be expecting as we start the new year. Say sometime between January 2nd and January 4th, you're going to have a very strong cold front move through with heavy rainfall, and then the Arctic air invades once again. So certainly all the signs point to a cold active weather pattern starting to take hold. But what about beyond that? Well, the new European weeklies have come out, and yeah, they would definitely make snow lovers very excited based on what we're seeing here, especially the first 15 days of January. Then towards the end of January, we start to see a little bit more of a shift back towards a trough in the west and a ridge in the east. Now, as I said from the very start with this winter forecast, we are not going to be able to lock into weather patterns for a long time. So the idea of locking in, let's say, early January and continuing all the way into early March, that's not happening this year because the forcing mechanisms of the weather pattern are just far too volatile this year. We have a polar vortex that's going to be stretching a lot, and you're going to have very weak tropical forcing signals with the MJO shifting quite a bit and no real ESO taking hold. So with that, you're going to see a lot back and forth. But the back and forth for January is going to start off rather cold and stormy. I mean, you can see the temperature shift for January to below normal all the way through, I would say about, say, January 20th, and then we see some steady moderation of those temperatures. And our precipitation returns to near normal. Now, you don't need well above normal to see a good amount of snowfall, especially with the snow ratio. But certainly signs here of an active storm track. Now, this doesn't guarantee snow in your backyard. I want to make that very clear. However, what it does show is that the potential for winter storms are going to be increasing through at least, I would say, 2/3 of the month of January before we shift towards a little bit of a relaxation, a little bit more of a trough in the west. And we're not looking at a deep trough either, based on the mild data, both on the European that we're looking at right now, the GFS, and the CANSIP. So I would say that if you're looking for winter weather, and I've been telling you, wait for January, it looks like that's panning out. So we're going to see. So the overall story here for the long range is you get a little appetizer tonight, but it looks like the main course is coming in for at least 2/3 of the front of January. So certainly something to look forward to. In the meantime, quiet right now. Winds are coming in from the northeast around 5 to 10 miles per hour. We're starting to see snow starting to break out here in central Pennsylvania. And you can start to see the winds coming in from the northeast. And you can see a little bit of a low pressure system trying to develop out here, right? So what does that look like on our surface map and radar? Well, first, hold it. I should probably take a look at the boundary layer dynamics here, because that's kind of important for the snowfall. And right now, we have temperatures in the upper 20s to lower 30s, below freezing over the northern interior. And along the coast, we're generally in the mid to upper 30s, so above freezing already. When we take a look at our setup here on the weather tap, surface map, and radar, you see our low pressure system starting to get itself organized. So again, we're not looking at strong low pressure systems here, okay? So we're seeing our low pressure system organized and the precipitation shield associated with this low pressure system take hold. And here's the old primary low pressure system. Primary as in the controlling dynamics in the atmosphere, the focus of the low pressure system where we study our low level winds, right? This is the primary right now. This is going to be the primary by tonight. What we're going to be influenced by is the transfer of forcing from this feature to this feature. And so what that leads to is a lot of broken, scattered precipitation developing around the region, rain, snow showers through this afternoon into the early evening, and then a consolidation as you get a trough building in from this low. So you see a consolidation here, and then as the low lifts northward, you see a burst because this is going to be tracking more to the east northeast rather than to the northeast. So to the south of the 4070 benchmark, which is typically what we look for major winter storms. This is going to track to the south of that, but it's going to be close enough to produce steady round of precipitation here. So you get it here and you get it here. Yeah, Connecticut, Long Island. I'm missing out on this a little bit. And we'll take a look at some of the model data that really illustrates that. On the infrared satellite picture, you can see that transition beginning to take shape. There's colder cloud tops just starting to pop and develop, or just at the infant stage of this development. Here's our old primary low with the lifting that's supporting the light snow development over central Pennsylvania. And this is another feature that we don't have to worry about. But this setup here is what's driving everything. And on the water vapor satellite picture, you can see even better where you start to see the low level circulation starting to get organized down here. Here's the whole upper level couplet. And again, you can tell which one right now is the primary. It's this one. But as this one starts to intensify and organize, because the thermal gradient here is much stronger than it is here, as the cold air rushes in, you're going to see the evolution of this low pressure system and the cold cloud tops really blossom along the coast. But the strongest lifting is going to remain over the Atlantic, which is why we're not expecting heavy snowfall and why the NAM that produced a ridiculous solution uh, yesterday, the 06Z NAM, where everyone seemed to have jumped on it, at least people who really like to see the worst case scenario. Um, that was wrong to begin with, because what it was doing is that it was taking this feature right here that we're seeing right here and blowing it up. It's called convective feedback error. So when it does that, it makes the low unexpectedly strong and unrealistically strong. And so that produces a more robust precipitation shield, which is why the minute I saw the convection out here, I'm like, nope, convective feedback error, throw it out. So that's where we are right now. And take a look at the mid-level winds here. You can see we have a pretty good low-level, mid-level circulation here moving into the Ohio River Valley. But you can also start to see the signs of the new 850 millibar low just starting to get organized. So again, infant stage right now. And so what that leads to is a lot of broken scattered precipitation at 250 millibars. What we're going to be watching for is, as this base of the trough goes negative, you're going to see a lot of divergence and diffluence, and this jet streak is going to enhance the lifting here and cause stretching over the atmosphere as the shortwave here exits out. So let's take a look at some of the model guidance that's driving all this. This is what I was talking about with the upper level winds this afternoon. One jet streak, two jet streaks. Now, they're a little bit too far apart to support a rapidly intensifying low pressure system. But as we move on through the evening, it's going to produce enough of a stretching environment here and enough divergence and diffluence to allow for the surface flow out here to steadily intensify, and also for a bit of a pullback towards the coastal plain in terms of lifting. Okay. So when we're talking about a trough, we're talking about a lower area, low pressure in the atmosphere, kind of like moving along on a line. And so that line and conveyor belt forces moisture towards the coast and more lifting. So when we take a look at 500 millibars, where will we set up that lifting? Well, it's going to be in the process between this departing feature and this departing feature. We're not seeing a full phase here. You're seeing this feature, because it's moving so fast because of a lack of blocking, is not able, is moving so fast that it won't be caught by this feature. So what you end up with overnight, especially around midnight, is a lot of stretching and pulling back in the atmosphere, kind of like taffy. And so that stretching allows for rapidly rising air along the coastal plain. At 700 millibars, it really shows up nicely. This is around midnight, okay? And what we're looking at here, we'll zoom in, is that stretching that basically moves through central New Jersey, northern New Jersey, clipping northern New Jersey, and much of eastern Pennsylvania, especially northeastern Pennsylvania. So you have this enhancement of lifting here. So you kind of get a good idea of where your inverted trough is going to be. It's going to be somewhere right in this ballpark right here. And you're also going to see lifting starting to develop with our coastal low pressure system focusing over southern New England, right? As that is lifting northward. Again, this is around midnight. So while that is happening, yeah, this is why we're not expecting a lot around Connecticut and Long Island. And I made some adjustments this morning to the forecast, because when you have all this subsidence, you're basically going to end up with snow showers and flurries, not any type of steady snowfall. At 850 millibars, you can see this process really taking hold. So here we are this morning. Again, remember what I said? Baggy, infant stage, not really developing, primary back here. By the time we get to this afternoon, we have our low pressure system now starting to organize. Still kind of baggy, still kind of disorganized. Here's your primary fading away. This evening, it consolidates, again, a little bit too far east for our neck of the woods here, but notice this bagginess here, this stretching here. This leads to your inverted trough, okay? Because you have the ghost of the primary here, the new coastal here. So you're getting this stretching going on in the atmosphere. And so while this is happening, you're getting substance here in between the stretching and the new strengthening of our 850 millibar low for tonight towards midnight is focusing here. So here's your inverted trough back here. Here's your primary 850 millibar low, already heading towards the Gulf of Maine by around midnight, let's say about 1 a.m. on Saturday. So you're going to have focus of lifting here with your departing precipitation over southeastern New England, talking about Rhode Island, Massachusetts, but you get this sinking air over Connecticut and Long Island, and then there is your lingering inverted trough here around midnight. And then this quickly clears out. This drops through Jersey from midnight to 6 a.m., and then we pretty much deal with flurries and very chilly conditions. As far as the 850 millibar temperature, well, first let me show you the moisture. This is a really, really important key feature to look at when you're studying the moisture potential. This is precipitable water value. It studies the amount of moisture in the atmosphere. You see how it's kind of like this little kink back here? And again, you can look at it towards midnight and in the early morning hours. This tells me, okay, this is where the moisture focus is going to be. And now the mesoscale models are all pretty much agreeing with this idea. So you're getting an agreement from the HRR and the NAM pretty close. You're not going to get it exact, but you get the overall theme. And you can see a lack of moisture here over Connecticut and the moisture departing southern New England. So there you got your first shot of moisture over southern New England, and that leaves pretty quickly. 850 millibar temperatures are cold. It's going to support snow at 850 millibars. There's no doubt about that. So why do we have rain snow mix on the coast? Well, again, we're already in the upper 30s already. And 850 millibar temperatures this afternoon are going to be around 0 to 1 degree Celsius. So this is going to be above freezing. This is going to support snow falling from the clouds and then falling as rain on the New Jersey coastal plain, especially on the immediate coast in southern New Jersey. And then kind of a rain snow mix on the I-95 corridor and all snow over the interior. That goes to all snow on the I-95 corridor this evening. Still rain snow mix on the shore. And then here comes the Arctic air surging in overnight. And so what this will do is cause your snow ratio to skyrocket as the cold air builds in and the inverted trough slowly exits the region. So yeah, it's going to get pretty cold, especially on Saturday and Sunday. The surface temperatures just kind of prove a point here. By tonight, again, mid 30s here on the immediate coast, I-95 corridor, lower 30s, let's say between 32 and 34, cold enough for snow accumulation, and then upper 20s to lower 30s, no doubt about snow accumulation. And then after we get past midnight, the coast is pretty much at freezing, and then the I-95 corridor is 29 to 32, and over the interior, mid to upper 20s. So you can see that we're definitely moving towards much colder conditions. And so on the NAM, we'll use the NAM right now, as it is in a good period. You can use the HRR this evening, let's say after 5 o'clock. It should start giving you pretty good results on what to expect for the entire event. So again, disorganized precipitation throughout the day today. This evening, again, remain disorganized. And then here comes that inverted trough surge as we move through past midnight into the early morning hours. And again, if we didn't have this, we would be talking about a dusting to an inch for much of the region. But this feature right here is what's going to put you to the 2-inch, maybe even 3 inches in many locations. And if you get any bursts of moderate snow, considering that the temperatures will be falling, especially at the mid levels, you're going to get a nice little snow ratio uptick and very fluffy snow clearing out by the time you get to 7, 8 a.m. And then flurries again for the rest of the weekend. Be aware in the Poconos, Catskills, maybe even portions of northwestern New Jersey, with some influence from Lake Ontario with this lake effect snow, that you get a snow squall or a strong snow shower dropping through on Saturday and Sunday with this Arctic air coming in. Don't be surprised if you get something like that. So, what are we expecting with this forecast? Well, we broke it down into 5 zones. Zone 1, this is where I'm expecting light snow with the bulk between 12 a.m. and 8 a.m., about 1 to 2 inches, with a few isolated locations getting 3 inches with a moderate burst. Zone 2, that's where we're going to be dealing with that rain-snow mix. So we're looking at a trace to an inch, mostly on cold surfaces. I think the pavement is going to remain just warm enough during most of the event to support wet pavement, especially if it's treated. And then zone 3, well, that's kind of where you guys kind of miss out. Sorry. Snow showers, flurries, maybe a trace, an inch with one of those snow showers. That's pretty much about it. And then as you move into zone 4, this is where you get the influence of the actual low pressure system. So 1 to 3 inches out in the east end of Long Island through eastern Connecticut, and 2 to 4 inches over portions of Rhode Island and Massachusetts as this low exits. And in this scenario, you're going to have rain changing over to snow. So it's going to be more of a wet snow and then becoming more and more drier as you move on through the event as the low pressure system pulls away. So let's dive into this forecast for the next couple of days. Again, we got our rain snow showers setting up for this afternoon. High temperatures in the lower to mid 30s over the northern interior, mid to upper 30s along the coast. Tonight into tomorrow morning, our light snow moves through. Low temperatures in the upper teens to lower 20s over the northern interior, mid to upper 20s along the coast. For tomorrow afternoon, scattered cloud cover, flurries, winds from the northwest around 10 to 20 miles per hour. That's going to be a problem because our high temperatures are only going to be in the lower to mid 20s over the northern interior, upper 20s to lower 30s along the coast. You throw in a strong northwesterly wind at 10 to 20 miles per hour, we're looking at a wind chill easily in the teens, maybe with some single digits. So bundle up tomorrow. You're going to need it. On Sunday, high pressure begins to build in. I can't rule out a few flurries, like I said, or maybe even a passing snow shower in the Poconos and Catskills. The story is going to be how cold it's going to be, with low temperatures in the single digits over the interior, lower to mid teens along the coast, high temperatures in the lower to mid teens over the northern interior, and upper teens to lower 20s along the coast. Monday's going to be even worse. Why? Well, high pressure is going to be sitting right over you. So you're going to have light and variable winds, generally clear skies, and that's going to allow for really strong radiational cooling. Low temperatures will be in the single digits over the northern interior. I would not be surprised if a few locations, especially in some valleys, end up below zero. Along the coast, lower to mid teens. High temperatures aren't going to be much better, ranging from the lower to mid 20s over the northern interior, mid to upper 20s along the coast. On Tuesday, a low pressure system weak trough will approach the region with some rain snow showers on Christmas Eve. Yes, you could see some snow in the air. Look for low temperatures ranging from the mid to upper teens over the northern interior, upper teens to lower 20s along the coast. High temperatures will range from the upper 20s to lower 30s over the northern interior, mid to upper 30s along the coast. On Christmas Day, Wednesday, look for scattered cloud cover, generally a quiet day, with low temperatures ranging from the mid to upper 20s over the northern interior, upper 20s to lower 30s along the coast. High temperatures are going to range from the mid to upper 30s over the northern interior, upper 30s to lower 40s along the coast. On Thursday and Friday, it is going to be pretty quiet, tranquil. Temperatures will be moderating, with low temperatures on Thursday ranging from the lower to mid 30s over the northern interior, mid to upper 30s along the coast. High temperatures will range from the upper 30s to lower 40s over the northern interior, lower 40s along the coast. Then on Friday, look for low temperatures in the upper 20s to lower 30s throughout much of the region, and lower to mid 40s along the coast for highs. So that is your forecast discussion for today. Have a wonderful day. And as always, stay safe out there, and I'll see you in 2025.